You're welcome to a new episode of the Women series where we capture developments and stories that impact women, the very first episode in the new year. The economic, social, and political status of women is the position women have as a group in different pitches of the society. Before now, some people have argued that most women in the world are the poorest in the society. They are marginalized and excluded from access to and control over resources like political and corporate positions, properties, money, information, technology, and the likes. But however, in recent times, we have witnessed developments in our society as women have worked and are still working to change the status quo. Now, development in this case is not merely about increased productivity and welfare, but it is also about meeting the needs of women in terms of increased participation in the society and achieving gender inclusion. Therefore, today, we will be looking at certain developments and social issues that have occurred in the previous year and the outlook for women in activities for the new year. Now, a major social issue that has remained a menace in our society is the gender-based violence. According to the United Nations in Nigeria, this type of violence is encompassed by gender-based violence, which includes the sexual violence, the physical violence, the emotional violence, and psychological violence. We have the child marriage, the female genital mutilation, domestic violence, and rape. Now, globally, it is estimated that 1 in 3 women experience either physical or sexual intimate partner violence or non-partner sexual violence in their lifetime. 30% of girls and women aged between 15 and 49 have also been reported to have experienced sexual abuse and rape. Now, we recall last year rape cases that unfortunately claimed the lives of some young girls, and these unfortunate incidents led to a movement to demand for justice for them, with hashtags trending on social media with "Say No to Rape," hashtag "End Rape Culture," "Justice for Our Girls," and the likes. There has also been reported cases of domestic violence, according to information we gathered from 24 states that showed that in March 2020, the total number of domestic violence incidents reported were 346, while just in the first part of April 2020, incidents reported spiked to 794, depicting 56% increase in just 2 weeks during the corona lockdown. Sadly, a few days ago, there's also been an alleged case of domestic violence trending on social media where a woman just reported that a man stabbed her with a cutlass over a trivial issue. Now, all of this can be attributed to the deep-rooted gender discriminatory norms and a pervasive culture of impunity. Now, thankfully, the federal and the state Ministry of Women Affairs, the National Agency for Prohibition and Trafficking in Persons, NAPTIP, and women's civil society organizations such as Women at Risk International Foundation, WARIF, have made important strides in addressing gender-based violence prevention and response efforts. Now, a very good example of this intervention is the partnership between WARIF and Bolt Nigeria. This partnership tackles the prevalent issues of rape and sexual violence by providing emergency escape rights to survivors who require transportation from the place of risk to a safe space. Now, we look forward to more interventions to help implement laws and policies that uphold women's rights and eliminate laws that discriminate against women. We also hope to see women being empowered and educated about their rights and responsibilities, and also an improvement in women's participation and decision-making within their families, their communities, their workplace, and even the society as a whole. Now, moving on from the story of the gender-based violence, let's take a look at some of the key appointments of women in leadership positions that happened last year, while we look forward to more appointments in the new year. Now, despite the discrimination and the patriarchal system that we find ourselves, some women have continued to raise the bar and compete for equal roles just as the men. History is still beckoning now as women are breaking another glass ceiling, even in the leadership of the World Trade Organization. Now, the World Trade Organization, WTO, is the only global international organization dealing with the rules of trade between nations. At its heart are the WTO agreements, the negotiated and signed by the bulk of the world's trade nations and ratified in their parliaments. The goal is to ensure that trade flows as smoothly, predictably, and freely as possible. Now, for the very first time in the final candidates and the front runner for the election into the office of the DG of the WTO is a woman, which marks a new dawn for the Global Trade Organization. The finalist, Dr. Ngozi Okonjo-Iweala from Nigeria, is the former Minister of Finance and Coordinating Minister of the Economy and Managing Director Operations of the World Bank. Now, Dr. Ngozi Okonjo-Iweala also serves on the board of Twitter Incorporated, a development economist and a global finance expert. Ngozi Okonjo-Iweala has over 30 years working experience, and her ability to serve in senior positions in these disparate culture settings means that she will be able to navigate the complex terrain of an organization that has a mandate to serve the interests of 164 member states. Mrs. Nneka Onyeali-Ikpe, she has been appointed as the Managing Director, the Chief Executive Officer of Fidelity Bank. She was a former Executive Director, Lagos State and Southwest Directorate. The approval of the Central Bank of Nigeria has also been obtained for the appointment. A big congratulations to her. Now, internationally, this year, Janet Yellen, who was nominated by the US President-elect Senator Joe Biden, will be making history as the first American female Treasury Secretary that will be driving the nation's fiscal policy. Now, all eyes will also be on Mrs. Zainab Ahmed, the Nigeria's Minister for Finance, Budgeting and National Planning, as she continues to lead the fiscal policy direction to the pathway of the economic recession. Now, the Minister of Humanitarian Affairs, Disaster Management and Social Development, Mrs. Sadiya Umar Farouk, will also be a key personality to watch as she continues to implement the social intervention programs and initiatives like Rural Women Cash Grants, amongst others. With all of these women occupying these positions, we can say that women belong in all places where decisions are being made, and we look forward to seeing more women take up lead positions in our society. And that will be all for today's edition of the program. If you've got questions or comments, kindly send a mail to programs@proshareng.com or business@proshareng.com. We will be glad to hear from you. You can also visit our website on www.proshareng.com to get more information on your personal finance and updates from our news stories and videos. And you can also follow us on all our social media platforms showing on your screen. Till next week, thank you for watching. Please stay safe out there and take necessary precautions. And I wish you all a prosperous 2021.